Hello and welcome to the Sub 1 YouTube channel. My name is Ray and this is part 3 of Fred's left shoulder. So in the previous two parts we constructed this section and this section. So in this one we're going to start on this area here, and hopefully we'll also get this bit supporting it all together done as well. So in the previous videos I had issues with nuts in the getting them into the holes in here. I actually found another method of getting it in there, so I'm just going to show you what I did. I've got 2 in already, or 3 if you include, I think it's this part. This one was done differently again, but I'll show you this one. So I've got my long screws, I've threaded the nut on so that it's halfway along the screw, and that allows it to get into the narrow part of the hole but coming from this side. Line it up with the nut hole, and then using a pair of multi-grips I pressed it. That one actually went in easier than the others did. So now that I've got all my nuts in on this one and none of them are spinning, I can look into assembling. So I'll just move this mud map out of the way because I don't want to get grease on it. So like the last one, we have a worm gear, or a worm and the worm gear, which slot together. We have this side is this part. Yeah, it's this part here. Stamped on it is front. So the servo mount at the back here goes to the back. The front goes to the front, and so it slots on like so. And then we put screws through this side and this side. Now the screws we'll be using are going to be a bit longer than these, because when we move on to this part there is bracing that the screws go through as well, so they need to be slightly longer to go through that bracing. We also will have screws that go through here, so we'll be using these longer screws again to go through this hole, but I'll open that hole up first so I can screw it. And of course we have this top cap, which is quite obvious where it goes. There's also this part which holds the square pot. In the files there's 2 versions of this. There's the square and there's the round. This is the square obviously. The round is if you strike the servos with the round pots in them. So this will fit on top here. This is the odd one out. The screw comes up from underneath, because when you connect this to the remaining parts here, there's a screw that goes through here. The rest of the framework under here will actually block access to this hole, which is why we have to make sure we get this nut installed first. Now this nut, I used a soldering iron to position that nut in, but there's a little bit of a bulge there and I may have to clean that bulge out yet with a file. So that'll fit in there. Yeah, I may have to clean that bulge out. See, there's a bit of a bulge on the edge where the nut's gone in. So that was installed using heat. but I'll clean that up after I've finished assembling this lot. Okay, so we've also got the servo. I've got the screw out at the moment, and that will fit in here and be screwed back. So I think I might use the nutserts again for these ones. So I'll get those out and heat up soldering iron for those. For these I'm going to use the silver zinc screws again. So as I use those, I'll put that on the video. So let's get started in putting all this together. So I think the first thing we need to worry about is this. Okay, so like last time, I'm not going to do this screw all the way up because it makes it harder to seat it in here if you do. What I haven't done is put the nutserts in. I was just checking to make sure those nutserts were clear of plastic because it felt very tight when I was trying to do it up. And before I get them all the way done up, I'll just get them all started and still need to do up the screw in the middle. Okay, time for the messy part. Okay, that's our bearings in. I'm just going to sit this on the other side for the moment to help support it and not push the gear up as I add more grease. Okay, that should do with the grease for now. Yep, that's turning. Okay, so with the other two, I replaced the wire that had been used previously. This one's all still intact and is held in with some hot melt glue to provide insulation in here. I'll guarantee there's no heat shrink there. Ideally, I'd like to wrap this up around this way before going this way, and then put a groove through the mount that will help hold these two parts together. So I might look at that routing shortly, but for the moment I actually want to have another look at this part. So we have another race of bearings to go in here, and I've still got to acquire the screws. Got around here somewhere. Now you can buy these screws in blister packs, 4 or 5 screws at a time, but it really is an expensive way to buy them. You're better off buying a pack of 50 or a pack of 100 and just keeping them for the next project. You'll be surprised at how often you'll run out of screws even buying them in packs of those size. Okay, so servo goes to the back, so where it says front, it needs to go up this end. And I meant to drill that before I put this together. So when you're doing these ones up, don't over tighten them. They are literally the tension on the bearings on both sides. So turn them up until they're just firm. Make sure you can still turn it. Huh, there's no nut in there. I could have sworn I put a nut in there. You're going to have to apply some heat to get that in further. That's better. Okay, so that part's assembled. Okay, so I've got these parts printed. So this will mount like so. We see if that bulge is going to be an issue. And it is. That's much better. Wrong side. So that's our shoulder assembled, ready to install. I think I'll do that in the next video because this one's already starting to get a bit long. Don't forget to click subscribe, like, ring that notification bell. There's a Discord server that you can join others in talking about the robots and ways people have gotten around issues they've come across. I have a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel, and you can join my VIP Go Lucky and my two other Patreons, Al Morales45 and Lorenz Berger, and we'll see you in the next video.